The European Union is considering its sixth and toughest round of sanctions yet against Russia, including a total ban on oil imports.
And let's be clear, it will not be easy, because some member states are strongly dependent on Russian oil, but we simply have to do it.
Now, the plan is to end all Russian crude oil imports within 6 months and refined product by year's end. Other measures proposed include listing high-ranking military officers and other individuals who are accused of committing war crimes, banning 3 of Russia's state-owned broadcasters from EU airwaves, and expelling its biggest bank from the SWIFT payment system. Now, the measures are expected to be voted on by week's end and need the unanimous backing of all 27 member states to move forward. Well, for more on this, we are reaching out right now to the CBC's Peter Armstrong. He joins us in Toronto. Peter, nice to see you. Let's talk about these new measures. How might they actually affect Russia and its economy?
Yeah, look, this would be the biggest escalation we've seen in the sanctions effort yet. I mean, it's one thing to target some of the banks and Russian oligarchs and their yachts and stuff, but to actually go after Russian oil and gas would be a significant escalation. You'll remember, Michael, when all of these various rounds of sanctions were put in place, there was always that carve-out for oil and gas, that we allowed Russia to continue to sell primarily to Europe. I mean, Russia supplies 40% of the EU's gas, I think about 25 or 30% of its oil. So boosting this up would be significant. There's one stat, I swear, Michael, I've been thinking about this since it was tweeted in March. One of the Bloomberg energy reporters tweeted out that in January, Russia was selling about $350 million a day in oil and about $250 million a day in gas. On the day he tweeted this out, in March, a single day, Europe had paid $720 million just for gas. So it gives you a sense. I mean, there's another report out there that's been tracking how much money Russia has made off its oil and gas and coal. And they've pegged that at $65 billion Canadian since February 24th, the day that Russia invaded Ukraine. So this would be a significant escalation. It would cause significant damage to the Russian economy. And as I say, it would be a very, very big step.
Okay, but it does raise a bigger question, Peter, regarding these sanctions imposed by European countries like Canada. How much damage have they already caused? Are they actually working?
They are working, and it's easy. I mean, I wrote a piece about this on our website this morning about that Russia's economy has proven to be kind of surprisingly resilient in the face of these sanctions, largely because of all that money it's making off the oil side. But it's also because of these very deft and very tactical steps taken by the central bank in Russia to prop up the currency, to try to shore up employment. We're talking about a government that seems willing to just pay people to work regardless of whether their employment exists or not. So these sanctions are working, but remember, sanctions aren't intended to punish a country. They're intended to try to encourage a country to take different steps and take different actions. We need to remember that, because unwinding these kinds of sanctions is a significant difficulty. You know what I mean? Like if we've got all these sanctions in place and BP, for example, sold off 20% of its hold in the Russian oil company Rosneft, when we lift those sanctions, we can't compel BP to buy those shares back. So we really need to think about how they work, what they're supposed to be doing. And look, even though it looks like the economy is quite resilient, it is imposing some real damage to Russians, to the Russian people, and to the Russian economy.
Peter, thank you for this. Really appreciate it. The CBC's Peter Armstrong in Toronto.